youtube.com/openupyourmind101.
Tonight we have Doctor Sebi. And for all of you that haven't heard of Doctor Sebi, you are in for a treat. I first came across 6 years ago, and I remember seeing a video, and I was listening to the lecture, and when I was listening, I said, "Ooh, this man has a whole nother different take when it comes to health and healing." And I have to say, it is because of Dr. Sebi that I went to my local pharmacy here and I got some litmus paper strips. Because when he was talking about how the acidity and the alkalinity of foods is at the heart of everything and how important it is, and how that is really like the basis and the foundations of a lot of the foods, being very acid in its makeup, that resonated with me so much. And the reason being is because I could recall being in biology class, being in chemistry class. I remember in biology, and this was like way, way back in grammar school, I remember how we had to take the litmus paper and do different tests during different, labs and experiments. So it just resonated to me. And it's so interesting because a lot of the essential information that we do need, it is presented to us at a very young age. And then if you're really paying attention and you connect in with the different knowledge bases from different areas, it will just resonate with you on a cellular level, and you'll know that somebody is really on point with the information that they're bringing. And, Dr. Sebi, he gained a lot of attention via the Supreme Court case where he had demonstrated that he had cured a woman of AIDS. So he'll probably touch up on that. And then since, even from then, he has healed and has worked with everyone from all walks of life, all different types of nationalities, different types of social statuses, economic statuses. He really is a illustrious world-class healer. So without any further delay, I'll be bringing Dr. Sebi on.
Hello there. Thank you so very extremely much. And thank you for the introduction. I hope that I live up to all of that.
You have, Dr. Sebi. I still have those litmus paper strips. I had to buy 2 big bundles of them. And it's just so interesting because, I know it's one thing to know and to hear about if something is alkaline or acidic, but then it just puts it into a whole nother dimension when you're actually able to see the color of the litmus paper, like changes different colors, and to show you like what's really going on with your food that you're eating.
Once upon a time, we didn't need that.
Uh-huh.
The reason why, remember, they took us away from where nature or God placed us in that environment that we live. We didn't need a nutritionist to hold our hands and said that this is good and this is bad. Mm-hmm. We knew that automatically. We knew what was good because that's all we had in our environment. The reason why they are not so good foods today is because in the 15th century, they began experimenting with hybrid things, artificial foods. We didn't have any artificial foods in our environment. What are artificial foods? All the starches, all the yams, all the rice and the beans. These things were made in the laboratory. We did not have that in our environment. So we didn't have to be checking and double checking. And because of that, there weren't any disease. Disease began with acid foods. We didn't have any acid foods in our environment. It was all alkaline. This is why when you buy a battery that has energy, on it is written alkaline, not acid. The funny thing about that, though, that the very thing that is used against us, which is the word savage, secretly, we assimilated that word, and we don't want to be identified with that word. There is nothing that we want to do about there's nothing that we want to do that would identify us with the savage. You see, the historians, the early historians, Europeans that is, when they wrote about us, they said that we were naked and that we were savages. But they didn't notice that the savage didn't have any alcohol or prostitution. The savage didn't have any artificial foods. But he didn't have any hospitals nor doctors. He didn't have any disease. So the savage lived and he died from old age. Now we die because of disease, not old age. There's a big difference now. That very word that was used against us, and many of us probably feel offended by it, is the very word that gives us the crown of being a decent human being. Yes, my mother didn't have any religion. My mama didn't have any rice and beans and cows and chickens. My mama didn't have any drugs. My mama didn't have any money. So when you total all of that, you begin to see that she was the righteous one. But she was the one that was said to be the savage. And now we are ashamed of that. Well, I'm not. I am the son of the savage. But let us revisit the savage. And we're going to find that if we live today the way the savage lived, we would be healthier, number one. And we wouldn't need any money. But those people that invented money now have caused a lot of problems. Because if you don't have any money, you are not going to eat. You're not going to be sheltered. If you don't have any money, you better not get old. You better not get sick. But when the savage gets sick, you have the community. You have the community to respond to him. That community no longer exists. I got mine, you better get yours. So you see, we need to revisit the savage. Dr. Sebi, when he embarked on this journey, he knew that he could not use the premise of another, because that is a violation, because you are violating that natural arrangement of things. When nature made Chinese, there was a set of rules that came with the Chinese. When nature made white people or Eskimos, there was a set of rules and a food. So when nature made black people, there were likewise a set of rules and a food. The food of the African is not the same as that of an Eskimo. An Eskimo needs to eat a lot of fat. He needs the fat to protect him against the cold. But the African people, they are not eat that. It would clog his arteries. It's a different environment. We have yet to understand that. You see, we have yet to put that into perspective. And this is probably why many of our brothers and sisters that are dedicated to the art of healing may have been making the mistake. Because when I was arrested, the Supreme Court or the FDA didn't want me to sell any products to the black people. They said, no, we shouldn't allow this man to do that. So when the judge looked at me and said, well, Dr. Sebi, the FDA doesn't want you to distribute your product. I said, the FDA is absolutely right. I should not distribute my products. But why do you agree with them? I have to agree with them. I agree with everyone. I even agree with the devil. I have problem with nobody or no one. So why do you agree with them? I say, I agree with the FDA because they are telling us that they know the science of gene, food, consistency. Gene, food, consistency, meaning the FDA knows that I should not distribute my product because my product is inconsistent with the genetic predisposition of the black race. The judge said, gene, food, consistency? I said, yes, Your Honor. When God made every animal and every plant, every human being, there was a food consistent with that gene. So when they removed the black man from Africa, did they bring his food with him? The judge said no. I said, well, we are being violated. And in that violation, we tend to do all kind of negative things to others and to ourselves. That is the result of the food that we are eating. Totally inconsistent with us. So it is necessary for us to begin to do more research into this science of gene food consistency. In the 60s, in the 50s, in the 70s, and the 80s, our brothers indulged in philosophy, in science, and religion. They all were involved in one aspect or another. So one day, a woman tells me, Dr. Sebi, I heard that you were, no, Brother Alfred, are you a Muslim? I said, yes, I am a Muslim. Why did you become a Muslim? I said, because the Christians was letting me eat things that offended my gene and my history, and not the Muslims. He said, oh, yes, they do. I said, how is that? He said, the Christian may have given you hogs, but the Muslims are giving you lamb, which is worse than a pork 10,000 times. So they get you going and they get you coming. So it seems as though the time has arrived in which we need to look again at our genesis for the answer of our problems today. Yes, we have the healing of the world. We have it. Not Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi cure AIDS and blindness? That's not true. Dr. Sebi doesn't cure any AIDS or any disease. The black race cure AIDS and all the other disease. Because Dr. Sebi is a sum total of that same gene you are, and all of us black people are. But to separate me from you, why? I don't know.
That is something that you mentioned that. Because when you start talking about like the separation, that takes me to what you had spoken on in regards to reaching out to some of the heads of states throughout Africa to assist them with certain, with some of the health issues and the problems there. And if you can, just please share with us a bit about what happened and any other experiences that you have had where there would be people that have the authority and they have the command and the outreach to heal and to really I shouldn't say to heal, but to get the word out and to provide some type of resolve. If you can share that with us,
Well,
then just
well, in the year of 2000, my wife and I went to Zimbabwe, and we began to help people in Zimbabwe. We were curing them of diabetes, curing them of diseases like lupus. And do you know that we were kicked out? Well, they had to kick us out. After all, we are black people. The people in Zimbabwe are trained by white people from England. They are the property of the white race. The African people are a property of England, France, Portugal, Italy, Spain. These are the owners of the African people. There isn't any African people that eat what the old ancient African used to eat. Everything the African people eat are made in Europe. So they had to kick us out. And then I went to South Africa. Oh God, no. Under Mandela, when Mandela is not a black man. So I didn't expect for him to really give credence to something that is black. I didn't expect Mandela to do that. But there are people in his cabinet that I thought had common sense. Because if the South African people are paying up to $300 for a medical treatment that never worked for individuals, I was going to show them how we could reduce it to $85. They kicked me out of South Africa. So, well, we went to Guinea, where the Guinean people listen, and they want us back. Then Michael Jackson, when I was with Michael Jackson, the year of 204, in the year of 204, he took me to the White House, and he took me there to talk to 17 African ambassadors, Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas, John Kanye from Michigan, Leonard Mohammed from the Nation of Islam, and Jesse Jackson Jr. from the House of Appropriation, where Mr. Bush had just given $5 billion to fight AIDS in Africa and the black community. And Mr. Jesse Jackson Jr. was a member of that house. And he saw documents showing that we cure AIDS, that we cure diabetes, that we cure sickle cell anemia. And Mr. Jesse Jackson Jr. did not tell the black race that one of his brothers was doing this, just like the Africans in Africa.
This is confirmation on several things, and it's just it's something to see that on one hand there may be certain people that may want to keep things away from people in regards to like their rights and their just focus on their constitutional rights and things that they are entitled to. But then when it comes to something like this with the health situation, and they know that people are losing, loved ones and losing their lives, and they even want to suppress that information. Did you ever get a chance to ask, why was there such an obstruction in regards to these things that can help people?
To offer class? Mm-hmm. What was the question? Did I offer what?
Did you ever have the opportunity to ask, why that this type of information was obstructed? And the reason why I'm asking this is because when you have, funds that are coming into a community, especially through federal programs, pretty much, there's tons of different nonprofits and people that they don't even have, remedy but they may have some consulting services, and then you have the clinics and the doctors and different people that may be having outreach programs, and they actually get funding, but they're not bringing remedy to the table. So were you ever able to ask them, like, why do they obstruct this information, knowing that it can really nip problems in the bud and solve the problems?
Well, you're getting into the sticky part now. You see what happened? One of the things that they did to bring us to this level of anger, because I'm not in love with you anymore. I don't even care about you or anyone else. And for that matter, my own self, I commit suicide now. Suicide was unknown in the jungle. So when they used the food to bring us to this level, they didn't know that one day when we wake up, that very thing that they use against us would be their demise. They would be crazy to help us. They would be insane. That job is ours. Just put it together. If we have the cure to AIDS, blindness, diabetes, and the rest of the diseases, what is going to happen to the medical system? What is going to happen to the financial system? Automatically, we come into power. You see? It is that simple. So what we need to do, those of us that are conscious, we don't need to wait for people to help us. We don't need nobody's help. We never needed them. I didn't. You don't either. We don't need anybody but ourselves. We don't need any leader. When our mama was through with us, that was it. How come we need a leader now? To lead us where? Where are they leading us? All they does is react to some stupidity, like why they killed Diaby. Why did Imus in the morning call the sisters in Tennessee a bunch of nappy-headed hoes? We would respond to that, but we are not going to respond to a science or a perspective that brings help to cure people. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to leave that alone. You understand? That is the kind of people that we are feeding us. But they have a right to do that to us. Look carefully. Look very carefully at the arrangement of nature. The leader is a woman, is a female. So when you put a male up in front to lead you, he is right to mislead you because you're acting stupid. You're selecting a male. I would do the same thing if you all elect me to lead you. I will mislead you. I be compelled to do so because you're crazy. So what we need to do is to select a female from among us to do the work that is need to be done, that understand that our health is at stake, our life, our future. It's not what religion you have. It's not how many philosophy you belong to. It means absolutely nothing. You better know what you're going to put in your mouth. And that which you put in your mouth, it better be consistent with your gene structure. This is why a group of sisters, a brother by the name of John Claude T, he said, if you don't watch the things you eat will soon eat you.
That is so true.
Now, the other part of us is this. Look carefully. In the 50s, it was about the religious thing. In the 60s, it was getting into the political and revolutionary. And that lasted way into the 80s. Our life was consumed with religion and philosophy, with revolution, never on health. In fact, I don't know if you get a chance. You remember Elvis Cleaver?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay. He had a meeting in Los Angeles on Hoover Avenue one night. And I went to tell him and show him that regardless of what he was saying, our health was the most important thing. Once we retrieve our health, all else would fall in place. But how are you going to teach people and move people when they're ill health? You can't do that. They laughed at me. They laughed at me. They booed me out. But I lived long enough. Elvis Cleaver is no longer with us. But there was one of them that came up during that time. He's in Los Angeles. He got a big belly on him. And he told people in New York not to listen to me because I know what I was talking about. Yet he's 18 months pregnant.
Let's discuss that a little further. What's really going on with the protrusion?
You inside that belly?
Yes. Is
Yeah.
it?
I'll tell you what. It begins with worms, parasites, all fecal matter that hasn't been, removed from the colon, been laying there for years. That causes problem mentally. This is why when Jesse Jackson Jr. was at the Rayburn building in the year of 2004 with me and Michael Jackson, I knew that something was wrong with the young man. I knew that he was going to have a breakdown soon because his belly was big like an 18-month pregnant woman. Acid, uric acid, carbonic acid, all those acids are in there, and it's causing a lot of problems. You never seen any slave with a belly that big. You know our brothers and sisters that were made slaves? None of them had big bellies. Now, that's all we have. We overweight now. But we're not looking at that. We're looking into the philosophy of things. That's right. It's causing a lot of problems. We have to address that.
That if someone lacks a lot of carbon and copper within their bloodstream, is that like the reasons why they would need to have like a wide array of other like proteins like coming from animal flesh and things of that nature to compensate for that? Is there any relationship between those two?
You mean with protein and the condition in the body?
Right. Like with the what you were saying, like as far as like
I'm glad that you asked the question about protein. Protein is a word that we all are tied to, like melanin. Melanin doesn't exist. Protein doesn't exist either. Protein is a word that they gave us to use. But if you ask someone a very intelligent question, Mr. Professor, is it a fact that the human body is electrical and that it is alive? Yes. Is it a fact that the body that's alive need live food? He said, yes. Okay. Is protein alive?
Well, plant proteins would be.
Plant doesn't have any protein. Plant has minerals.
Yes.
There isn't a plant in the world that has protein. They have 102 minerals. Nothing to do with protein.
Got it. Okay.
Protein, vitamin, and enzymes. These are artificial foods, artificial words that has nothing behind them. Look, when we live in the forests of Africa, look at the way we looked when they brought us here to make us slaves. We was very firm. And they didn't have any protein. They didn't have any chickens. They didn't have any cows. They didn't have any hogs. They didn't have any land because those things are imported to Africa. Those things are not found in Africa.
So what is it that causes us to have more of a muscular, like, an athletic build? Because what I notice, like, around with certain people, their body types are naturally like more firm and muscular as opposed to being like more flabby even when they don't exercise. Is it that there's minerals which causes like the buildup?
Minerals.
And the certain
minerals
stature?
Are the ones that are, yes, minerals. Minerals are important. But we haven't had any since we were brought from Africa. Look, there is a mineral among the 102 that was removed from our diet. And we have great need for it today. Everybody in America and in Africa, the Caribbean, South and Central America is anemic. We lack of iron. When you lack of iron, you are vulnerable to all disease. Mineral is the one that determines the quality of life that you live, not protein and vitamins.
Got it.
Minerals. There's 102 minerals. You find 102 minerals in the clouds, in the sea, in the river, in the soil, in the plants, and the human body. They're all tied into one, 102 minerals.
The bulk of those minerals are found just right, Ricky said, within the earth.
Everything that you need is found in the earth. When I began to go on this journey, I had to take my brain all the way back to Africa to investigate and to research why our brothers in the jungle were so healthy. When I found out, it was the food that they were eating. Those plants, those leaves, those natural fruits. And I'm not talking about apples and pears and peaches. Those things are artificial. They are hybrids.
Okay.
We are talking about electric food. You see, there is such thing as electric food. The body is electrical. The body being that is electrical is alive. How could a live body use dead food? No. A live body need live food. You call that chemical affinity. But many people that indulges in live food make a mistake because they be using and they've been eating and processing starch. Starch. S-T-A-R-C-H. Starch are very dangerous. Starch has cyanide, and they have us eating starch now. Once upon a time, African people didn't have starch in their environment. No rice, no beans, no cassava, no yams, no potatoes. They didn't have that. That is not African. Those things kills you. But we are aware of that. We like the gorilla with a diaper on, eating at a dinner table. But the gorilla is no longer eating leaves. He's eating blood and starch. So he's insane. And this was done in Kenya. They took a group of gorillas and changed their diet. At the ending of 5 years, the gorilla was fighting for a bone. And that is what we are doing today, fighting for a bone. When we have the opportunity to reverse that, of course we do. Because the one thing that removed from us in the process was love. The love that we had for each other. The love that fused us together. The love that existed then. We didn't have to worry about getting old. It was like the biggest or the greatest thing to become old. The elder. He's part of the community. He helps to make the decisions because of his accumulated experiences. And then one day, this old man is going to transcend in the eyes of his village, taking care of him. Today, you be thrown in an old folks' home, and they're going to treat you like, well, you know, like what? They're not going to give you the love that you need at that age. All these things come with the package. Wait, the judge asked me, Doctor Sebi, would you please explain in a simple way what is gene food consistency? I said, gorillas do not eat polar bear food.
What was their response when you said that?
What would they respond?
Yes.
Now, what response are they going to give? You see, when I walk in that Supreme Court, I didn't walk in that Supreme Court to rock the boat. I walk in there to sink the boat.
I hear you. I hear you on that. I hear you.
So I had to be prepared because it was the first time, it was to be 1988 on the 27th, on the 26th day of September was the first time in the history of America that a black man stood up and denied the philosophy of Europe and showed them their inconsistencies. It was the first time in the history of America that a black man would show that there is a direct, distinct difference with black and white. Not that the black man is better or the white man is worse or Chinese and Arab in between. No. We are different. We are not better than anyone. We are different. And that difference has not been treated. And we need to do that for the health of the nation. Not only for ourselves, but for America and for Africa. You understand? We need
Yes, I sure
We
do.
need to have a community. We need to have a community where we could go in there and the first thing we're going to notice, it's clean. It's clean. That comes with health, cleanliness. We need to clean up. We need to clean up internally and externally. Internally, oh my God, we need a lot of cleaning up. We sick. I mean, look, who would have believed that Malcolm grandson was going to kill his wife?
Nobody. Who would have thought that in a million years, and it was a shame that it happened.
But it occurred because we are not looking at the cause of the violence that exists. We attribute it to everything but health. The first thing that breaks down is the brain. You are listening to a sick person right now. You are listening to Doctor Sebi. The boy has got to be sick. How in the hell he's not going to be sick when for 30 years of his life he ate meat, he ate blood, he ate starches. The boy wanted to kill his wife. The boy wanted to commit suicide. The boy was angry. The boy was placed in an insane asylum in New Jersey. You think I wasn't sick? And how sick am I now? I may be less in degrees, but I've got to be sick. This is why we have to be tolerant with each other. We have to understand the degree of our disease. Oh God, yes.
And focusing back on the starch and then just like thinking about what's cleaning up. What are the main things that people could do to start purging the system? And then also too, when there's a lot of like starch intake, in addition to like the arteries and things of that nature, what other does it like get stuck like inside of the like within the makeup of the organs and the bloodstream and things of that nature?
You're right, sister. You're right. Starch is not a food. Starch is a chemical that is known as carbonic acid, but they have made it so where it becomes palatable. Oh my God, you know what it is to put some pasta in your mouth with some gravy, some red gravy on it, or some sugar. You know, like when you're eating these cakes, these beautiful decorated cakes full of sugar, and sugar is glycerinic acid. Sugar has more starch than any other substance on the planet. Sugar will harden your arteries. Sugar will have you doing crazy things because sugar has a lot of alcohol in it also. The meat, well, we're going to move from the sugar, which is the carbonic acid, and we're going to go to uric and lactic acid. The animal. They got the gorilla eating meat now. Here it is. The woman is married to this man for 30 years, and she tells him, you know, John, you're not the man you used to be. And she forgot that she was feeding him eggs and cow milk and butter and raw and half-done meat. And all this affected the poor brother. And the first part of him was his membrane. The prostate gland began to suffer. She, unaware that she contributed, she tells him, you're not the man you used to be. You see? But she's the woman that she's not the woman she used to be either. So it is time for both of us to look at each other and realize that it has nothing to do with old age. It is our health, and that we owe that to each other. We owe that. He needs to tell her, baby, you're gaining weight. My eyes do not see you the same. Come on now, just get with it. And she may tell him, baby, you're not making love to me the way you used to. Well, that's okay. Then we both work on each other's, little situation or condition, our condition. That's okay. We're going to work on it. Then we find out to work on it, we have to omit the food that we were eating that brought us to this particular state. It's as easy as that. But we could take the other route. We could begin to call each other all kinds of names and who's and bitches and all that. But that doesn't help. That is only anger. That is precipitated by the food that we're eating. No, it's about love. It's about love. It's about love. And love requires that you give your mate that particular patient, that you wait, you help her. She gave you all these babies and all these years. She deserves to sit with her. She deserves to sit with and show her. Just change the diet. Just get back young again. Of course, we have seen it happen many times. I saw it in St. Martin with this man named C.C. Charles. I saw it in right here in Puerto Rico. I saw it in many places where they begin to get young again. Just change the diet. Just laugh.
I see. So, like, with that cleansing, like, what do you recommend that people should, like, pretty much on a fast? Or what's your take or your general regimen if someone is not actually, like, full-blown out, like, sick, but they just know that they pretty much have been having, like, a lot of carbohydrates and things of that nature?
Okay. What we have done at Doctor Sebi LLC or Doctor Sebi Healing Institute, we design compounds that would address that very condition. Everything begins in the colon. We design a compound not only is it going to remove the debris from the colon, but it's going to nourish the colon simultaneously. You need to nourish the cells of the colon. Once you remove the debris, all of that broken down or fecal matter, you clean it out. You begin to see that the person begin to calm down. They begin to feel more relaxed and exhibit more energy. So what we have done, not only to design a program to cleanse, but also to replace the minerals that has been depleted. There are two in question, which is iron and calcium. Calcium, why? Notice carefully. When people get to my age, 80, they better be careful how they walk, because if they fall, they may not get up. Yet, I'm falling on my knees on concrete. I demonstrate that all the time. I fall on my knees on concrete at 80. I don't feel any pain. Sometimes I fall and I bounce back up. I said, oh, look at that. And then I remember once when I used to walk and I was only 30 and they checked the opposite, calcium. But when you talk about calcium, you have to be careful because there are two forms of calcium. One is oxide, one is phosphate, organic, plant. When you talk about iron, you cannot talk about ferrous sulfate. You have to talk about what? Iron from a plant. Phosphate, fluorine of iron. These things have to be known. We want to stay young. Why not? Why not? I said, well, I want to be serious too. There must be virtue in seriousness. So I want to be serious. He died at 50 and he was a preacher. The boy died young and he was serious. I'm not even a man. I don't know what a man is. What the hell I gotta be serious for? So Dr. Sebi, so in addition to, of course, keeping an eye on your health, you're saying that, with your humor and everything and your mindset, that's what's really preserving you. Because I can remember, you said that you're 80 now. What, about 5 or 6 years ago, I remember when I saw you when you were here in Atlanta. So that, you mean you were in your 70s? At that time period. Oh, yeah, I was in my late 70s. This just kind of reconfirms the whole essence of when you spend time with someone or if there's like a light kindred spirit, I'm convinced that a part of you always remains with that person. And then that energy like transfers out to other people that they speak and, that they may conversate with. Yeah, I resonate with the man. The man is beautiful. All brothers and sisters are beautiful. That we have a tendency to think that, well, I like Malcolm, but I don't like Farrakhan. Well, why don't you love Farrakhan? He's a human being just like Malcolm, or like King, or like Roosevelt, or like anybody. You see, on a ladder, before you get to the top, you have a step that you put your foot on, and then another one, and then another one, and another one. But they all are taking you to the top, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. That's very true. Which step is more important? So as we begin to grow and develop, we have to understand that you are not going to criticize those before you because they help to solidify where you are at now. They help you to get there. Something about them that helps you to, and then you helping someone above you. And it's always going, it's developing, it's constant changing. You cannot say that Malcolm was bad and Farrakhan is good. They both were good. King was good. Elijah was good. Bishop Sheen is good. Everybody is good. We have to stop putting things in the category of good and bad. These yardsticks and these barometers are Europeans, but they aren't natural. Everybody is different. The message that Father Divine came with is not the message that Marcus Garvey came with. They all came with different messages, just like the steps on the ladder. So now we are on the level of health now. This isn't philosophy. This isn't religion. This isn't politics or revolution. This is health. This is healing. For the first time in the history of America, we got healing, and it was demonstrated. So we should move on it because it is for our own salvation. Religion doesn't save you. It's your health that saves you. But if your religion teaches you how to eat, well, that's good.
I see what you're saying.
To eat.
Yeah, I have to, with what you're saying, I have to think back to what Taj always says with, not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And, as I grow, yes, as I grow, and, it's a lesson that has to be learned in gradual steps. But, you have to, adhere, and you learn from different bits and pieces, different schools of thoughts and different people. But I think that certain people may have a judgment of like bad and good, maybe based on principles and deeds. So it's not, I don't think that people really like have a hate for the person per se if they notice that there may have been some deeds or actions or principles that aren't in alignment with what they see as a standard. Then I think that's where that those feelings come in at. And then, and then speaking of,
I agree with you.
And then speaking with those standards, Doctor Sebi, one of the callers just sent one of the listeners that listens to the show a lot, did send a text message, and he would like for you to elaborate a bit about diabetes and dialysis. We see now that diabetes is up on the top of the chart with, on the illnesses that affect us, a lot of our people.
You know that diabetes is one of our specialties. Over a dozen or more, and I'm going to name one in particular, Larry from New Jersey. He's a policeman. Larry came to me in Honduras with diabetes at 600 level sugar. In 4 days, his sugar was normal. He came on Monday, and the Thursday his sugar was normal. The Nigerian doctor that came from Canada with his wife, he didn't want to come because he thought that I was a voodoo man, and I was some kind of off-the-wall herbalist. No, I'm not that. I'm somebody altogether different. I'm a different animal. 4 days later, his sugar was gone. What is it that I'm doing? Okay, I'm doing a simple little thing. I cleanse the pancreas duct. They usually say, they normally think that when a person has diabetes, the pancreas stop functioning. No, if your pancreas stop functioning for 1 minute, you are dead. What occurs is that the ducts of the pancreas, through which the insulin travels to get to your bloodstream, are clogged. I unclog them. It takes me 4 days to unclog them. And there goes your insulin again. Then I repair the damage in the core of the pancreas. They call that the island of Longerhorns. I begin to clean them out because they're clogged up with that carbonic acid. You've been eating a lot of starch. Now, dialysis, again, there is obstruction in the kidneys. Usually, or normally, it is calcification in the kidneys. Kidney stones, they call them. And all kind of other things caused by what? Inflammation. There is only one disease. There never been two. There's only one disease that exists. When I said that to the Supreme Court, they didn't want to accept it. But when I broke it down, they had to accept it. When we talk about the dialysis and we talk about the other one, which is the pancreas, diabetes, you are talking about obstruction. The mucous membrane has been broken down, clogging the system. We have to clean it out. If that occurrence takes place in the brain, you become crazy, or Alzheimer's. If it occurs in the like in the joints, you become arthritic. Anyway, the mucous membrane has been compromised, a disease will be present. So yes, with dialysis, again, we break down the calcification and flush it out. We have taken people off the dialysis in 24 hours. Others, it take me up to 2 months, but eventually, they will be off. They will be off. Dialysis only means that the patient has been ingesting a lot of starches. It's kind of funny, that we're talking about starch and blood, that our religion give us starch and blood to eat. But when we were in Africa, we didn't have starch and blood when we didn't have any religion.
it's something that you mentioned that, because when I think about even here within the Americas, and I just want to highlight around the southeastern part of the continental United States, where they say is the home of soul food, so to speak. And one thing that I noticed, especially with growing up with my grandmother, and then paying attention to everything that she would have in her garden, what the neighbors would grow. And even right to this day, I notice in certain restaurants that there is a wide array of different vegetables. So it's like when you really start looking at the traditional diet and the makeup, I grew up with, a lot of the okras, the greens, the cabbages and squashes and different types of split like peas and things of that nature. And so one thing that I like to ask, even what you have found, throughout the Americas, amongst the our original, populations here, and especially focusing on Honduras, have you found that amongst people that are living more in a traditional sense, that they still are clinging on to having a lot of the natural herbs and the vegetables?
I find in traveling the world recently, and in the past, that the healthiest diet among people is in America, generally. But there are pockets of people. There are a group of people in Ecuador, in Vilcabamba, South America. I speak Spanish, right? So I come from this part of the world. And they live on the average of 140 years. But they drink a lot of water. They drink a lot of water. A gallon of water a day. And they live long. And there's a group in Africa, among the Nuba, they live long. But generally, America have the healthiest foods in the world are right in America. Not here in Honduras, no. Honduras eats very poorly. Cuba eats bad. Puerto Rico and Cuba and Santo Domingo, they eat very bad. But in the countries, like I'm mentioning now, the one that eats worse is Brazil. Brazil eats bad food, very bad food. In fact, the only country is Brazil where they find a septic body, where bodies of is found septicism in Brazil. No other country but Brazil. Yeah, they're nasty when it comes to food. They're very nasty. In fact, I went to Brazil in 2004 for Michael Jackson. He wanted to buy a little island there. And I went there to look for this little island, little key. I had to go to the Western Union to pick up some money. But the Western Union was inside of a restaurant. When I opened the restaurant door to go in, what my nose was smelling was worse than any septic that in the South, dog. Out. Oh my God. In a restaurant, Brazil is scary when it comes to food. Scary. I mean scary. So yes, we need to go back and extrapolate from the forest those things that were part of our diet, and I brought them to you in the form of pills. I brought the herb and processed them, and you're getting the result because we curing AIDS, we curing lupus, we cure Michael Jackson babysitter of lupus, we cured many people of lupus, we cured many people of sickle cell and leukemia. We just cured a blind man in the Bahamas, a blind man in LA, a blind man in Dominica, a blind woman in New York. It isn't hard to cure a blind person. It isn't difficult. But we've been reduced to thinking that we are worth less, that we do not measure up. And to measure up, you need to go to school. Well, brothers and sisters, the brother you've been listening to has never been to school, and he doesn't read any books because that's crazy. I used to once upon a time. I read the Quran, a very good book. I read the Holy Bible, a very good book. The Bhagavad Gita, a very good book. But what I found from the jungles of Africa, that was better than any book.
And everybody, you're listening to Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi, we do have a caller that just came in. Let's see what we have here.
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Welcome.
This is really a blessing just to hear this. I just recently came into the knowledge, or have trying to become more aware of my health and coming into this knowledge. So this is really, really a blessing. I don't know how often Dr. Sebi does, get around. Does Does he do lectures? Does he go on different lecturing opportunities?
Yes, I
Would
do.
he be willing? Oh, you
I
do?
do lecture.
Okay.
But I've been lecturing recently in the Bahamas and here in Central America and in Belize. But yes, I do lecture, and I haven't lectured in Atlanta in a long time. But I would love to do that because I like Atlanta. You know, Atlanta make me feel like when I go to Chicago or Detroit. Atlanta make me feel like when I go to D.C. You know, I love D.C. too. You see? And anywhere I go, I feel this resonance of our people. They're just very pleasant, you know?
And also, I would like to ask you, would you be willing also to do another broadcast for a different set of people?
Well, of course I would like to. Why shouldn't I? The one thing I ask God to make me, I want to be a good servant. I want to be the best there ever been. I want to be a good servant. Nothing else. Nothing else.
No, praise the Most High. I must say that it's really wonderful to have this opportunity to speak with you, and I'm just
elated.
Well, if I could possibly get your information so I could forward your information so they can get in contact with you.
Of course.
Okay, that would be wonderful. I don't know if you ever heard of Gathering of Christ.
Have I ever heard?
Yeah.
Of who?
The Gathering of Christ Church.
The Gathering of Christ Church? No, I've not heard of it.
Okay. Well, I would like to give them your information if that's possible, and have them contact you?
Of course, it would be good. You see, we're putting together the healing family, you know, where we could come to the aid of each other.
Right.
The Urua healing family. You see, Urua is about what? You, knowing that you are number one. You are the only one in the universe. You.
Right.
Nobody could be better than you.
That's right.
Dr. Sebi, should she contact you via email, or are you okay with providing your direct phone number, your office line?
I'm okay with the direct phone number, 3142-3142.
3142.
3142. The area code is 001504. That's the area code, 001504. 3142-3142.
Okay, I got it.
And that's a direct line in Honduras?
Yes, where I'm at right now.
All right. Well, that's wonderful, and I will definitely forwarding this information. So
all right. Thank you for calling, sister. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, peace.
I'm sorry.
Oops, let me get back on. Apologies for that, Tara. I thought you were complete. What were you saying?
What do I have to press to leave off the queue?
Oh, you're fine. You can just press 1 again. That'll be cool.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Caller 205-757. Welcome. State your name, please, and where you're calling from, and your question or comment.
Well, we're making it as best we can. I was listening to the show this evening, and I also listened to the show last week, and this is very exciting to be able to ask Dr. Sebi a question, if I might.
Sure.
Dr. Sebi, Dr. Sebi, how are you? I have looked at many of your YouTube videos and some of the other videos that you had online, and I was just fascinated at how we are able to heal ourselves with the electric foods, and at the time I had written a lot of them down, and I really appreciate what you've done and what you're doing.
I appreciate that, sister. I appreciate that very, very, very much, because I want to hear these kind of testimonials. Because I quit my job as an engineer to come into this particular calling because I loved it. Someone had healed me, and I knew that healing was attainable. So I wanted to share that too. And I'm glad to hear what you said, of course. And we would hope that many more would research what I'm doing like you have done, that we could make a better people of ourselves, you know, where we could really love, where we could really hug each other. And we don't have to live in fear. You know, like the term, we have to live in fear of God and fear of the devil and fear. We don't have to do that. We want to live in love.
And that's beautiful, and I am all for that, because I feel like if we do clean up our bodies and do clean up who we are, we can be better entities and better souls for the universe to come, for what's coming up, because the earth is changing, I believe, in our favor. So I am ready to clean up, and as a lot of the people around me are. But my question was, is there any way that heart disease can be cleaned up? I mean, is that something that could be done with these foods, along with cleaning up diabetes and high blood pressure, something along those lines?
Well, of course, the human body, look, I've been on this journey now 50 years, and I just begin to see the rewards. I mean, not just begin to see it, to recognize the rewards, because all of my friends, all have passed on but one. I only have one friend my age alive. I said, wow, this is funny that they didn't listen to me, my brothers, my family. And I would have wished that all of my Louisiana friends from New Orleans were alive, that we could sit together now and say, hey, look what we did. Look what one of us did. All of us turned out to be different. I didn't turn out to be better than them. I just had this calling, and I hope that I performed the best I could possibly perform, because this is the calling that was for me, not for them. But I would have liked to sit with them, to share. And this is what we're putting together, a healing family. Like tonight, I could feel you guys tonight by your question that you asked. I could feel you guys. I could feel you, brothers and sisters. And it's beautiful. We need to spread this information. Another thing I want to say, there is a group of us that comes out of Georgia that I like very, very much, and I have not been in touch with any of them with one of them in a long time. The Nuwabians. I like the energy. I like the energy of those people that I met when I was there. I met some of them. They took me to Athens, Georgia, and it was so nice. All of them had a beautiful energy. And generally, we are that. We just need to galvanize that energy and strengthen it by having seminars showing what we shouldn't put in our mouth, that we could really hug. Like the brother called in and asked about the dialysis, and the diabetes.
Right.
I used to have diabetes when I was 27. I was impotent at 30, but now I have a baby which is a year and a half old.
Oh.
You see?
Wow. That is great.
All of us are great. All of us are great. We just need to be more tolerant with each other. Lisa Lopez, Left Eye?
Yes. Yes, I do.
You remember Left Eye, right? Well, we had a conversation one night with Left Eye about 2 o'clock in the morning, because she lived there in the village, and she told me something that was so significant. She said to me, I just came off of my fast, and what I noticed, Dr. Sebi, we need more love. We need more love. We need more love. And that's true. There's no room for criticism anymore. All of us are sick. Some of our brothers and sisters are on crack. They're just like you and I. They're crying out for love. I remember when I smoked cocaine. I remember when I did a lot of things, but I'm not doing that anymore. I stopped that 50 years ago, but I did it. And someone came and held my hands and said, hey man, wait, you can't do this. And I remember that. I remember that person and the people that helped me to get to this point. And this is why we need to exercise that. There aren't any bad people in the world. There are sick people in the world. And I would recommend that we all look at Kirikou. I don't know if any one of you know about Kirikou, an animated cartoon. Kirikou says a lot. It says a lot. We are sick. We need love now to bring us around. This is why the Institute was made here in Honduras, to bring us together. I didn't want to own this crazy place. I want us to own it. This is why we formed the Urua Health Family, that we all could own it. Right now, you got to pay me money to come here. But if we own it, you didn't have to pay anybody. We own it.
My grandchildren watch Kirikou. I know Kirikou, and it does have a very good message to it. But that's what I was wanting to know, that question, and I really appreciate it, and thank you so much, Dr. Sebi. Thank you, too.
You're welcome. You are welcome. Thank you for calling in. All right, peace. Have a good night now.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Sebi, are you okay with time? We do have another caller, as well as a couple of questions that came in through the chat.
Hey, why not? Why not?
Okay.
The niggas got energy.
Okay. Caller 31339. Please state your name and where you're calling from and your question or comment.
My name is Sonia, and I'm calling from Detroit.
Hey, Sonia, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Doing very well.
I have a question. Is there any illness that can't be reversed, like if you had it a long time, that can't be reversed?
I don't know what you mean by a long time, but we have had people that was born with AIDS and was cured of it. So I don't care how long you have it, and even if you're born with it, it could be reversed because it is unnatural. Disease is unnatural.
I have a friend that has everything that you can name. She's just early 40s, but
that's nothing. Hey, don't worry about it. Hey, you just put her in touch with us. In fact, I would like to come to Detroit and do another speech. You know, you don't know how much I love Detroit. I love that place. Oh, God, yeah. I love Detroit.
Well, I wish you would come here. What would it take?
You're making it difficult already. You know, I remember when Alex Haley used to charge $15,000 per lecture. He advertised that I'm going there, and then we split the difference, the expense, and we split the door. We make it easy. We can't think about money any longer. We have to think of family. How you could get me to Detroit the cheapest way there is. We need the message. Damn the nigger. If the nigger is charging a lot of money, well, you don't need to be counted. Sebi is no longer your brother. It's about love. Yes, I could go to Detroit. Yes, I could go to Atlanta. And we could split it. All of a sudden, because I have a piece of information, I'm supposed to put a price on it. No. Just stop it. Just stop it.
So that means I have to get in contact with you then.
We need this kind of energy. We don't need to ask each other, what is your religion? Well, if you ask that, we're going to be enemies because that is what divided us. We need to stop that. We need to split that. You are my sister and your brother. Okay, just come together. We're going to do a speech in Detroit. I would love to go back to Detroit. I love Detroit.
Can you call me when you can?
Okay, I sure will. I'll call you. Yeah, no problem. I'll do that.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sebi. I'm going to be getting in contact with you. I'm going to stay on hold. I'm going to stay on the line.
All right, now. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, peace. Dr. Sebi, we do have a sister here in the chat, and she is raving about, your products. She appreciates everything that you're doing. And she did make mention of the, let me see here. She wants to thank you for the viento as well as the green food.
Oh, my God. I never talk about my product because, it's like just selling yourself. Oh, my God, I don't like to do that. But the viento, when I put that together, I put that together because I noticed something. Our nerves are bad. Our nerves are bad. Oh, God, our nerves are bad. And mine, too. So I put the viento together to cool us out and to strengthen the endocrine system. And guess what? It's working. I know what the system's saying. About the green food plus, many people take that and the pressure goes down, the sugar goes down. Oh my God, it does marvelous things. It's marvelous things. It does these wonderful things. But they're all compounded out of electric food, natural vegetation, cell food. That is stamped on my product. I know the sister have read it. The sister's right. Of course. That's why I wanted to do this, because they were giving you guys echinacea, ginseng, golden seal, peppermint. All these things are hybrids, and I didn't want that to continue. This is why I want to come in there and raise the bar. Raise the bar. You understand? We did it.
Yes, I sure do.
People did it.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
She says here that it keeps the pain at bay. Real talk. And she also said that it's very potent and they love it. Also, too, she said, let me see here, as well as if she wants to know if there's a particular type of water that is best in bottled form.
Bottled water? Fiji.
Yeah, she says Fiji.
And also Perrier.
So those would be the best of the top two that you recommend.
Yes. Okay. And I one is that Mountain Spring. That's American, but it's good. It's good. No distilling. Don't drink any distilled water. Drink spring water.
Is there any benefit to having a spring water that has sulfur within it? And the reason why I'm asking you is because here in Georgia, it's a ancient site about 40 minutes south of the city, and they have people come from all over the place to go get the water. And it does, though, have, like, sulfur in it. I guess it's some type of natural sulfur source that's where the spring is.
I know that spring. That spring.
Yeah, Indian Springs. What's the name of it? Mm-hmm.
Yes, it has sulfur in it. It does have sulfur.
Mm-hmm. Is that beneficial to the body?
Is that what, sister?
Is that beneficial to the body?
Well, let me tell you something about sulfur.
Mm-hmm.
The bones are made of calcium. The cells of the blood are made of iron, but the cells of the lungs are made of sulfur.
I did not know that.
That's why when people come to Honduras and they go in this natural sauna, I have a natural sauna where the sulfur is flying around in vapors. And a man came here from Argentina with lung cancer. In 2 months, he was killed.
That's something.
Yeah, that is one of the best features here. I would like for you to come and look at this village. We would even sponsor you here, that you could tell our brothers and sisters on the same station, that we could come together around health, true health. They brought us all kinds of substance in the past, but none of them really do the work that the African biomineral balance has accomplished. The African biomineral balance is down in the Supreme Court of the United States of New York as being the only therapeutical approach that is complementary, because we demonstrated that we cure AIDS, we cure diabetes, we cure blindness, we cure CURE. We don't have to be afraid anymore to use the word we niggers. We could do it. We always have done it, and we could keep on doing it.
Yes, we can. But Dr. Sebi.
Of course we can. We just gotta bring
yes,
back
we
the
can.
love.
We can.
Yes, doing tonight. You don't know how I feel tonight. I feel good. I'm hoping that someone in the audience would call in and say, Dr. Sebi, you are wrong. You're wrong. Okay, if I'm wrong, that's good, because tonight I'm alone, and that's the way my life is. But we didn't get that tonight, and I was hoping there was someone that would say, look, your premise is inconsistent. No, we didn't get that. But I was hoping that we get one of them, that then it would take us a notch above, right? What I said tonight, what I shared with you, brothers and sisters tonight, came from you. It came from us.
Reflection.
It came from us. You see, I didn't learn this from any Caucasian. I didn't learn it from any Chinese. I learned it from some niggas.
You know, Dr. Sebi, I respect you as my elder, and I love the fact that you came on the show, and I love the fact of how you're sharing this information with everybody, but I will feel much more comfortable for you to call us Moors than to call us niggas.
Well, I know that. We are more than that.
Because the only...
We are more than niggas or Moors or Africans or all that. You know, I know that. I know, right?
Right. But no, what I'm saying is that...
I'm doing it with a strength, a historical thing with me. When we used the word in the 50s, it was like, damn, you know, like heavy, not as being something to insult someone. I'm comfortable with it. Yeah, I'm a nigga. So what?
Dr. Sebi, after this call, we're gonna talk, Dr. Sebi. But no, I hear where you're coming from. But at this juncture, especially with dealing with etymology and those words, it is very, because just like how you were talking about with the health being very important, the words that are used actually do cast spells. And the only real, because what I feel is that even using the word like black, that actually has some, connotations, and just, even, because I'm pretty sure you're familiar with, what was it, the Dr. Ikamoko, the Japanese, I think it's the Japanese doctor who actually conducted the experiments to see how the effect of different words generated different crystalline structures in the water. And so he would actually take like different phrases like love, hate, war, and then put them on a piece of paper and then wrap it around the glass. And then they used the microscope to go in to see, and they could tell that with the words that had like evil connotation, it would generate a very chaotic type like structure. But then if there were words that had a positive and an upbeat vibration, you would see these pretty crystalline snowflake-like structures that would form in the water. So, you know, along with the implication on a cellular level of having a good health through the foods, even through the words that are used, can be just as powerful. But Dr. Sebi, we're going to talk deeper about that. Yes.
Every word that I've ever used tonight is artificial. The Africans didn't have any words. Animal doesn't have any words, but they communicate. They communicate through vibrations. Words are all artificial, you see? But the Japanese have to talk like that. But we above that. Words are artificial. You don't communicate with words. You communicate with your eyes.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk Dr. Sebi. I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, we communicated with our eyes. We didn't have any dictionary. We didn't have any Rosetta Thesaurus to have any words in it. Every word is artificial.
A lot of the English is from Moorish Latin, or what they would call barbarous Latin, but that's a whole other story. But Dr. Sebi, we do have some more callers. Not callers, I should say, but the same sister that called, that had the questions, and she had made the commentary about the viento. And for everybody that's listening, it's viento for that viento. And she also wanted to know, what's your thoughts about sciatica? And I'm not sure what that is. If you can highlight what that is. And it's spelled Sciatica. I may not be pronouncing it correctly.
That is a plant, right?
Let's see here. I think she's coming in on the line. I think the sister's coming in. Let's see. I think she's here on the line. Let me try to plug her in. Samira, is this you? 58687. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, peace. I'm sorry, brother. I thought that you were one of the sisters that was asking if she could still call in. But I'm doing very well. Thank you for reaching in with us tonight. I just wanted to address the sister that had the question about that sciatica or sieta, and I'll be back with you. Give me one moment.
No problem.
Dr. Sebi, yes. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm not sure. She didn't say anything about it being a plant or anything, but are you familiar or have you heard that at all?
Maybe I'm not understanding correctly, but I never heard of that.
Okay. All right. Maybe she'll. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm way off. You have to bear with me, Dr. Sebi.
That's okay.
Because
no, you're not way
I'm
off.
not the best at pronouncing a lot of different words that I don't see all the time. But it's a form of pain and a nerve pain. And so I guess she was asking, is there anything that can handle, a lot of nerve pain from nerves, I guess pinched nerves and things of that nature?
Sciatica?
Yes, sir. Yes, that's it.
That's central nerve problem. Yes, we do. The viento in itself addresses that by itself. But we have a compound made from what is known as the honey thistle that goes straight to the brain. Like again, remember we said that the lungs are sulfur and the calcium and the blood is iron? No, the brain is copper and carbon. And I learned that from Benjamin Banneker, because Banneker was the one that found out that to produce electricity, you need copper and carbon. There was no kite and no key. Banneker didn't get that kinetic understanding through running with a kite and a key. Benjamin Franklin said that he was running with a kite and a key at the tail of the kite, and that the lightning came and struck the key. No. It was Banneker. It was Banneker that found electricity, because he was a natural biologist and he knew that the brain produces electricity, and he wanted to know what the brain was made of. And yes, indeed, the pineal gland is carbon and the cerebral cortex. And if you look at a generator in a car, or if you go to a generating plant, you would find a wheel is turning that is copper and some carbon. The friction between carbon and copper produces the resonance known as electricity.
So the carbon and and the copper that's the makeup of what is called melanin is deeper than just our pigmentation in our skin.
No, that word melanin does not exist in biology. That word melanin is something made up. It's made up. When I asked the promoters of it, which is Dr. Frances Cress Welching, I asked her a question. Where do you find melanin in the body and what produces it? She said, it is produced by the neuron of the nerve. I said, Dr. Welching, the nervous system doesn't produce anything. The only thing in the human body that produces a gland. Glands produces the adrenal gland, the pancreas, the testes. These are all glands. The pituitary gland. These are glands. They produce it, but not the central nervous system. The central nervous system is a conduit. And they try to tell us that melanin makes us black. Well, I want to know, what is blacker than carbon? Carbon is what makes us black. But the doesn't tell us that science shows that carbon is at the very base of life itself. Life cannot exist if carbon isn't present. Now, the higher content of carbon, the higher the quality of life. It means the blacker you are, the healthier you are. But no. They had it just the reverse to make us feel bad again. But it's backfiring because nature shows and science shows.
For everybody, we had a little technical difficulties there. I'm going to bring in, we lost Dr. Sebi, but he should be coming back in. Let's see here. Caller 586-872.
You all right today? This is my first time calling. My name is Bantu Ali Bey.
Peace, Islam brother. How are you?
Islam, hey.
But yeah, so did you have a question or comment that you wanted to share?
Actually, for Dr. Sebi, he talked about minerals being in a phosphate form versus a sulfate form or some other type of form. Are all the minerals that we need to take supposed to be in a phosphate form?
But I also wanted to speak to him, too, about the whole concept with vitamins. And why are those vitamins pretty much promoted more than the minerals? So,
I was going to say briefly on that, I know that a lot of the vitamins that are being promoted are synthesized versus something natural that you would get from a plant-based food. So naturally, when something like that is being promoted, it's more than likely a detriment to your health.
I see what you're saying with that. But yeah, what I'll do is I'm going to try to get him back on the line, and then we'll be patching you back in. And everybody that's listening, Dr. Sebi.
I don't know what happened. We got disconnected.
Okay. Well, we do have a brother on the line, and he had a question in regards to minerals and phosphate form. So, brother, if you don't mind, if you would just, introduce yourself and restate your question for Dr. Sebi.
Hey, how you doing, Brother Sebi?
Oh, not as good as you, bro, but I'm doing.
Yeah, I've listened to a couple of your lectures, and I noticed that you said we need iron phosphate versus iron oxide, and you said we need some other things in a phosphate form. So I'm wondering if all the minerals that we take are supposed to be in phosphate form, or is there something different?
No, on the phosphate form, meaning that one is a plant, one is a rock. Whenever you want to make aluminum, then you go to this thing they call bauxite. That's together on the soil, calcium and dolomite. Like, for instance, when the blood needs iron, you cannot go to the ground and get a rock that has iron, that's a soil, because the body cannot digest that. The microvilli in the intestines would not digest that because it's a rock. It doesn't have enough oxygen in it. You see, we got to go back to carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. With the plant itself, like the sarsaparilla, it has carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. A rock doesn't have oxygen. It has the carbon and some hydrogen, but not oxygen. So you have to go to the plant. The body identifies it because the plant is alive. You want the minerals to see. When the body digests iron, it doesn't digest a piece of it, digests the electrical. The electrical form of the iron is assimilated, not a piece of the mineral. That's why we say.
That was a good question. On the red clay and bentonite clay, and the focus on the red clay in terms of iron intake.
Anytime you take any kind of bentonite is volcanic the residuals. Bentonite is actually glass, but it isn't good for the intestine. Bentonite doesn't have anything in it that the body needs. It's an oxide. It's not alive like a plant. And the other question was, beside the bentonite?
Red clay.
Red clay. Let me tell you something about that. There are many animals that eat that clay. Parrots eat that clay. Elephant eats that clay, a certain clay. I don't know if that applies to human beings. That I don't know. But I know this, that I have never used clay internally or externally. All of the huts in the village are made of clay bricks. But I don't know of it being used. I know many people use it. The body cannot digest that. It has to be alive. Always think about life. Alive, electricity, resonance.
I see what you're saying. We have another caller.
Wait, what was the first one? Pollution?
Yes, but before we actually go into that, I would like to take the caller.
But I want to mention the creation of the Urwa Health Family. The Urwa Health Family is about targeting 1 million members, and everybody's going to chip in $200. What they're going to get for the $200 is 20% off everything that they buy. And if they come to Honduras, they would get 50% off their stay in Honduras. So right there, they get more than $200. But we want the $200 and the 1 million targeting members that we could put into motion the $200 million project. Health centers in every major city in the United States. And we're going to have processing plants of natural bananas in Central America. We have part of that is to the cotton textile development in Africa. And we're going to buy a plane and a refrigerated boat to sail from the Caribbean to the United States and back to Honduras and drawn and about. And many other things attached to this $200 million project. We need that to begin the journey back to health, and it would reach many people. The village that I'm talking from, that would not be owned any longer by Dr. Sebi. It would be owned by family. I'm going to sell that to the family, that we all could own it. It is bad. It looks ugly. It doesn't make me feel good to know that I own a healing village. No, that doesn't make it sound too good. We own a healing village. That makes it better, because many people cannot afford to come because of the price, even though, listen to this carefully. In Florida, there is the Hippocrates Center of Alternative Medicine. They charge you $9,000 a week to cure diabetes. A policeman by the name of Larry, if you call my number in LA, they will give you Larry's number, and he will share with you. He paid them $18,000. His sugar was up to 600. He came to Honduras, and in 4 days, his sugar was normal. And all he paid me for his 2-week stay was $3,000. And he was cured of diabetes. But we could make it even better. We could drop the price even 50%. If we work on it, look, our price is 5 times cheaper than those outside in the United States, and they're not curing any diseases. But the price is much higher. But we are guaranteeing. We had rabbis come all the way from Jerusalem, and he was cured of 4 different diseases. He went back shouting the name of Sebi. Oh God, you should hear Rabbi Neazal. Okay, here is the son of the slave, is healing the son of the slave master. That is what we have become. You understand? That's us.
I see that vision, and I like that concept too. So pretty much you're talking about structuring. It's pretty much like a co-op, and the vibration of the structure and how that will co-op.
It is a health co-op. That's what it is.
Exactly.
You're right. I'm glad that you gave it that idea, you know?
Yeah, that's beneficial, and I will be talking to you about that a bit further, because that's something that's key, that's needed. And I think that it would be receptive to many others, especially if they could clearly see that after all of the insurance payments and after all of the prescriptions, if there's no remedy there, then it doesn't make sense to keep on going with the same old, same old.
You know what they're doing to us. But it wasn't their fault. And it isn't their fault. They just didn't know how to help us. They are trying, and they have tried, but they didn't know that there was a difference genetically. There's a genetical difference that they didn't treat, and they don't know how to treat. Isn't that false? We want to thank them for trying. We want to thank everybody that tried. But the time has come that we found out how to treat ourselves.
Right. Yes. Dr. Sebi, I mean, aside from the cotton and the copper, what are some other key differences that makes us a different people to treat?
That makes us different? But you don't have to go too far to see that.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that's the key. That's the real key, the carbon and the copper.
The concentration of carbon determines the quality of life. Your hair is kinky. Your skin is black. You observe the sun. You can observe the sun and turn it into energy. When others repel the sun and cause it souls, there is a difference. We're not saying that they are worse than us because nobody's worse than the other. We just happen to be different. How to treat that difference. This is why there's so much anger in our community, anger that was never before experienced. There is now. You can stop it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, we have a caller that's been patiently holding here. Caller 973-256. Thank you so much for your patience. Please state your name and where you're calling from and your question or comment. Caller 973.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Oops, wait 1 second. I muted her by mistake. I didn't know if anyone was there. Ooh.
Hello.
She'll be back on. Yes. I thought I lost you there for a minute. How are you, sister?
I'm fine. This is Sanira Holt in the chat room.
Hey, Sanira. Yes. You're the one that was talking about the viento.
That's right. See, I know that it works for sciatica. I know for a fact. I just wanted Dr. Sebi to co-sign on it. It works. I mean, pain, you don't feel anything. You really don't. And you feel good. Green food, that's good. That really does work. And we brought a couple of products. I'm telling you, he's real with his stuff. And I mean, I'm trying to get my family on the bandwagon here. You know what I mean? The price is very reasonable considering, you know, what's out there and what you have to pay for it doesn't work. I brought some products for family members that, you know, for a gift, you know, and they have raving results. So I'm just trying to let everybody know that Dr. Sebi is legit, and we love him. I mean, totally love him. And one day we'll meet him.
Give thanks for that. Dr. Sebi, are you there?
Yes. I'm listening to her, and I want her to know, and I want you to know, I want everybody to know that as she expressed her love for me, that is exactly what brought me to this position. That is exactly what I felt that we all needed when I came into this calling of a servant in the area of nutrition and health. I wanted to be good. I wanted to work because I was sick and tired of going myself to other people looking for healing, and they couldn't afford it to me. So yes, I feel good for what the sister said, and I want to thank her for that. And I hope that I could comply, that I am doing the work I'm supposed to do. You understand? I'm hoping that I'm the servant to my race, to my family, to Africa, to the world. I just need help. We need help. I need help. I need help just like you. I need you just as much as you need me. I'm no better than you. I better do my job right. Talk about being better.
Right. And not just us, children too. Our children too. Helped all the way around.
You know, that product got the name Viento from a Mexican girl. When I put that product together, I gave it to this Mexican girl to take, and she took it. When I came back in 2 hours, I asked her, "How do you feel?" She said, "I feel like the wind." Viento, she said. In Spanish, she said, "Me siento como el viento." I feel like the wind. So I gave it the name Viento. Viento means the wind. And when you take it, you really feel like the wind.
Exactly. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't know Dr. Sebi. I know of him. I'm telling you, his products work. I mean, it really do. When I asked you about sciatica, it was just, you know, was there any other products? We don't have any diabetes and things of that nature, thank God, but We do, the sciatica, that, and plus for exercising, but you can exercise. You can do things with it. With Viento, the green food is very powerful. You actually feel it. It don't take 30 days. It don't take 10 days. You feel it.
They are electrical. We carefully came to the forest and selected from the forest the highest electrical expression in herbs, and we put them together. Yeah, you gotta feel it. That's what I wanted to hear. And that's what I wanted to see. When the blind man was seeing, I wasn't surprised. When Mr. Frederick was seeing, no. I knew what to do. You see, we black people know how to reduce things to the least common denominator. We don't make things complex. We don't complex things. We make it easy.
Oh, love you, Dr. Sebi. And
I love you too, my sister. I love you always.
Wow. And we're ordering more tomorrow, by the way, because I got a few left on the run out.
I hear that.
By the way, my name is Barbara.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
But I ordered North Carolina.
That is where Larry lives. Larry lives in New Jersey. He's a policeman in New Jersey.
Oh, really? Well, I don't need any coach. We've been ordering from you. Let me tell you, we are witness.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Yes, give thanks for that. Thank you for sharing, sister.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night. Good night, and we're still listening.
Good night.
All right, then. Peace now. Have a good one.
All right.
That was key that she bear witness on that, and that was probably very helpful for people that may find themselves hooked on any type of pain pill.
Oh, that Viento works out good, girl. Oh, my God, yes. I love it myself.
Yes. And then before we close out, Dr. Sebi, can you please talk a bit about gluten? I got a confession for you. About gluten?
Oh, gluten. Yes.
Yes.
Gluten. I remember when I was a Seventh-day Adventist. And the Seventh-day Adventist specializes in gluten. And gluten, again, is starch. There is a sweetener that I recommend that I use every day. They call it the agave nectar. It is the only sweetener that claims to be gluten-free. Why it is said that why it is gluten-free? Why it make that specific statement? Because all others have gluten in it. And what is gluten? Gluten is starch. Starch, again, is carbonic acid. Gluten clogs the system. It rots in the system. It weighs the system down. Gluten robs you of your iron and delivers, yes, sulfide. Gluten will deliver sulfides in your body.
So the gluten cancels out your iron and the sulfides, and so that's the ground for a lot of the cancer.
It delivers sulfides, which causes cancer.
I'm sorry. Okay, so you said sulfides.
Sulfides rob you of iron. They rob you of oxygen.
Okay, so I want to make sure I'm clear, for me and for everybody that's listening. So when you say the sulfides, that's what, oxidized sulfur?
Sulfides.
Are you saying SULFIDES?
SULFIDES. Sulfides.
Okay.
Sulfides are the residuals of the gluten, like lactic acid, the residual of milk. You see it now?
I see.
Sulfides are it is the result of the presence of gluten. Sulfide, which is bad. They rob you of oxygen. Sulfides rob you of oxygen.
I see what you're saying.
So we have to be careful. When we buy bread, we should buy the one that says spelt bread or kamut bread.
And kamut. How do you spell that?
Yeah.
Yes, kamut. How is that spelled? Is that KAMUT or?
KHMUT.
Okay, KHMUT.
KHAMUT, kamut.
And so, as far as wheat, like flatbreads and things of that nature, or they will have certain those multi-grain breads and stuff like that.
No, that's bad. That's no good. Fast bread. kamut bread. And as for grains to eat like rice, you could also buy the fonio. 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 Go to the website and you're going to see it and order it. It's a very good grain. It has no starch. It's an African grain.
Thinking everybody, that website is www.drsebi. What's your take on wild rice or black rice?
Black rice is no good. That's starch. Wild rice is good. Wild rice is very good. I eat wild rice and I eat fonio. Fonio tastes better than wild rice, but it's just as good. They both are good. Wild rice and fonio. Try fonio and you will love it. You could do so many things. You could even make tamales with fonio.
Ooh, okay. Really? Okay.
Vegetable tamales. Oh, and they're delicious.
Okay. So with that fonio, is it like a fine, like grain, like how the couscous would be?
Yeah, fonio is like couscous, but couscous is starch. But fonio has no starch.
I'm glad that I asked that, because what I have found from time to time when I do cook couscous, I notice that if I don't actually like grill up like some herbs and some hot peppers, especially if I put like Scotch bonnets or something in it, then if I didn't have that, my body would just start rejecting, and some of that starch was just the mucus. I guess it was just the starch that's coming up. And what that made me think about was that with babies, you know how they always say that you got to birth the baby after they eat, or they say the baby is constantly like spitting up the food, and it has been passed in our society for us to just accept that that's something that babies just do. But what I'm seeing is that, no, the babies is just rejecting the starch from the body.
That's right. Well, my baby eats fonio, and she eats and she drinks sea moss and hemp seed milk. Hemp seed milk and sea moss. And she is just as healthy, and she's just as heavy, and she's just as energetic. But I give her iron every day, because we have a special baby food. We call it banjo. Banjo makes any baby fly and strengthen the immune system. All these things we have to bring to the public to ward off disease and prevent us from spending so much money trying to get healthy, and our babies too. Especially our babies. We want our babies healthy.
Yes. And I mean, that's mandatory. New life, having to build, and everything that they intake is going to be the foundation of their livelihood. And on that note, Dr. Sebi, what is in Similac?
Similac?
Yes, sir.
You mean that milk?
Yes, that powdered milk that they give a lot of the mothers and stuff, and what they buy to give to the children. What they call it, formula? That's the other name for it?
It's dried cow milk with other chemicals in it. And all the mother have to do to avoid any kind of pitfalls is to buy some hemp seed and put it in the blender with some water, and it turns to milk, and you cook some sea moss, and you mix that with some vanilla, and you sweeten that with some agave, and your baby gonna love that better than anything you could put in their mouth. A little girl came to visit me tonight with the daddy, and the little girl is a year and 5 months. When the mama gave her what my wife gave her to drink, that baby didn't want to let go that cup. Sea moss and hemp milk. That baby didn't want to let go the cup. Oh my God, the baby went crazy. The little girl. Wow. A pretty little girl. The mama said, look at my baby. My baby love it. I got to hire to drink my stuff.
Gotta have a stash. I hear you. But wow. So Dr. Sebi, I mean,
we just bought some land from Lisa Lopez to build a children village that we could begin to treat sick children in a beautiful environment. But when you come to Honduras, we want you to see, and we want you to give us suggestions, because we are open for suggestions.
That's a deal. That's a deal. And I thank you for inviting me. I thank you for that.
Thank you for accepting.
Yes. We're pretty much winding down, and I noticed that we didn't have any other callers coming in. So, but Dr. Sebi, was there anything else that you wanted to share with the people before we close out?
Well, I always think of this when I'm asked this question. whenever we leave our house to go in the street, the first person you see, you look at them in their face and you give them the love that you would like to receive from them. You give them.
So you're saying having that old time, old fashioned upbringing type love, that greeting, acknowledging people that you may not even really know.
You don't have to know them. They need your love, like you need theirs.
Right. Well, I want to thank you so much, Dr. Sebi, because I was trying to reach
you so much too.
Yes. I was trying to reach out to you. I was diligent. I said, I know I'm going to make a connection with this brother. So it was a divine appointment, definitely.
Thank you, listening audience. And thank you, my sister. Thank you so very much.
Okay, you're welcome. And actually, I think we have one more caller that just came in. Just get them in very quickly. 252-883. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, my name is Daryl, and I'm calling from North Carolina.
Peace, Daryl.
Peace, family. How y'all doing?
Doing very well.
Okay. I got a quick question I want to ask. Do herbs have an expiration date?
No, they have no expiration date. Herbs are electrical forever. Energy cannot be killed or die. Energy can only be displaced. No, they have no expiration date.
Okay, well, I'll be talking to you soon, Dr. Sebi.
youtube.com/openupyourmind101